Yo, Adam Saxon with Guy in a Cube, and in this video, we're going to look at how you can easily get a calendar table in your data model and why you should care about this. Let's go. If you're finding us for the first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the videos from both Patrick and myself. All right, a calendar table. Patrick and I talk about this all the time. If you hang out in our live streams, we've mentioned it once or twice or more. This is something that you should pay attention to in your model. It's something that can help you in the calculations that you make and the DAX that you write to get those amazing visuals. So let's look at the different ways for how you can get a calendar table, and then I'll show you once we've got it why you should care about this. Enough of all this talking. You know how we like to do it here on Guy in a Cube. Let's do what? Let's head over to my machine. So we've got some data already in the model. If we look at the internet sales table, we can see we've got an order date and a ship date. So let's go ahead and let's create a visual here. Awesome little bar chart. I've already got a measure here. So we'll go and we'll grab total sales, and then we'll say, how do we normally want to look at this? Well, we might want to look at this over a month period. And so we've got January through December, and this is kind of normal. One thing you'll notice here is this order date has this hierarchy with year, quarter, month, and day. This is something that's on by default inside of Power BI Desktop. This is referred to as Autodaytime. So for every date column in your model, it's going to create this hierarchy. This is just an effort to reduce the friction of creating and modeling your data, right? So getting up and going quickly so that you can create visuals and create meaning and get insights from your data. However, when we're working with larger models or we're working with standardized models and we want to get some consistency, having something like this doesn't really work well. Let me show you. So if I want to go off of ship date here, then how does this actually slice? If I want to compare the two, how do I do that? That's something that's difficult when we've got different hierarchies that are part of this and we don't have that central date table. And so if I have a slicer and if I drag month, we'll just change that to a drop down, then I say March, that works great. So for the month of March, I've got that much in sales across my given item, but you'll see here that it's order date a month. So what if I wanted to bring in ship date month? And if we get rid of order date, if I want to change this to March, it looks a little weird, right? So we're filtering data in the date table, but it's doing it off of the ship date, but the order date has a different range. So what are my options? If I have a central date table, then I can actually go through and use relationships to drive that particular slicing and dicing that I want to do. And I can control which relationship to use from a DAX perspective. So how do we get that central calendar table? There are a couple different options. The first is going to be if it's in your source, just bring it in. A lot of organizations, especially larger organizations, have a central calendar table that they use that aligns to their business. So fiscal periods as well as calendar year periods. And so if that's available for you, take advantage of it. I see a lot of organizations also use that central calendar table as a data flow as well that you can just pull into your model, which is great. So again, if I just go back to my source, I'm gonna go look at the tables, we'll see here that I've got dim date. It's already got everything broken out by month, a year, a day, maybe holidays that are there. That could be something that's already set up. Another option we have is that we can just go with DAX. And so we can go to modeling, create a new table, and then this will create my calendar table. It's got all these things broken out. And I can hear people already, but what about Power Query? Yes, you can do this in Power Query as well. Normally, I'm saying do things as close to the source as possible. The calendar table is one of those things where I actually like to use DAX. It just makes a little more sense to me. That's what I'm used to, right? And in this case, I'm using the calendar function. You can set a date range. You can use calendar auto as well, which will scan all of the dates in your model. One thing you'll notice is that these hierarchies are still there. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go to File and I'm going to go to Options. I'm going to turn off Auto Date Time under Data Load, and we'll undo Auto Date Time. And you're going to see these automatic hierarchies just go away, and then whoa, that all looks weird because we got rid of our given hierarchy. So now it's doing it by every day. Also, from an Auto Date Time perspective, I did a video, go check it out, about how this could affect your data model size as well. It's rare from my experience, but it is something to be aware of. So go check out that video if you want to learn more. So we've got the Auto Date Time capabilities. We can bring it in from the source. We could do Power Query. We can also create stuff in DAX, but then I got to know how to write it in DAX. There's got to be an easier way, Adam. And there is. Now, one of the things that the folks over at SQL BI introduced is this new tool called Bravo. I'm pretty excited about it. The thing I love the most about it is the ability to create a calendar table easily. So go over to bravo.bi and you can download this tool. It's a free tool that you can go install. If you install it and you have admin rights, it'll be an external tool inside of Power BI Desktop, or you can just go to the start menu and go run it from there. Let's take a look at how this can actually create a calendar table for me. So I'm just going to delete this calendar table. Just know that if I did have a DAX table already generated, Bravo can overwrite it. It's fine. Just be careful about different field names that you have, so that could become a problem. So I'm going to go to external tools and I'm going to launch Bravo. It's that easy. And there's a lot of different features in this tool, but I'm going to go right to manage dates because that's what we're looking in. And it's going to check your model to see if there's any potential issues. So if you did bring it in from the source, that might be something that could potentially cause a conflict. So it'll flag that for you. There's also different templates that you could potentially use. And so you've got a standard monthly, you could do a custom template, or you could do like a weekly template if you're looking for different ranges like 445, 454, different types of calendars that might be used. So I'm just going to go with standard. You can also set the first month of the year. So this is in the context of your fiscal year. So let's just say that the first month of the year is July, and then your first day of the week, for me, I'm going to go with Sunday. And you get a little preview down here about what this is actually going to look like. So the interval, you can set it to auto, which means it's just going to go look through your model and figure that out, or you can hard code what year range you want to include in your model. So here I'm going to do an automatic scan. I'm going to say full, or you can actually choose specific columns you want to go off of. So like if I just wanted to do the order date and go off of the order date, I can do that. In this case, I'm just going to do full. From a date perspective, you can choose your model language. You can also change what you want the table name to be. So instead of date, I'm going to go with calendar. You can call it whatever you want. You can also include holidays or choose not to include holidays, and also choose the country that they're coming from. The other thing that's really cool is the time intelligence function. So we can actually go through and try and create time intelligence measures based off of your existing measures that are there. I've only got one measure, so it's fine, but you can also choose the measures that you want to do this on if you don't want to do it on all measures. Once that's done, I'm going to say preview changes. This is what it's going to create. And then I'm going to go through and say apply changes. We're done. So now if we go back to our model here, you'll see that we've got a bunch of different things. I've got holidays and I've got a calendar table. And then you'll also see the time intelligence folder here, which is all the time intelligence items based off of my total sales amount. That's bananas. So I didn't have to go and write all of that. So let's fix this up. Let's go back to our visual. I'm going to bring in calendar. And so instead of order date, I'm going to bring in month. And we'll see here that it looks a little weird. What we need to do is we need to create a relationship. The other thing I'm going to do real quick is just change my slicer to go off of month on the calendar table as well. So let's go create that relationship. So we've got our date and I'm going to drag it to order date. And then we've also got date and I'm going to drag it to ship date. It's going to create an inactive relationship on ship date. And now we'll see that we've got data here and we can see March, can see February, everything's great. And now you're saying like, okay, well, what about that ship date? So here on ship date, I can create another measure that actually handles ship date itself. So let's do this. New measure. So here I'm going to create this measure. So shipped date sales. And what I'm saying is take the total sales amount, but use the relationship off of ship date instead of order date. And then what I can do is just bring in both values and now we can compare the two. And so now we've got our total sales next to our ship date sales and we can see the differences between those. And when I slice by given month, everything works because I have those relationships and it's driving off of my central calendar table. A calendar table can help your model to be more effective and to give you more flexibility in terms of what you can do and what you can control from a central place. And the Bravo tool can actually be used to get you that date table very quickly without having to write DAX. All right, I want to hand this over to you. What do you think? Have you used Bravo? Did you know about it? Let me know in the comments below if this has helped you and if you like that calendar function inside of Bravo and if it made it easy for you. If you like this video, be sure to hit that big thumbs up button, smash it if you so desire. If it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button. And as always, from both Patrick and myself, thank you so much for watching. Keep being awesome, and we'll see you in the next video.